like everybody else on the internet, Heated Rivalry has taken me by storm. It's taken me by storm. Me, contemporary person? No. But can I find the books fucking anywhere in stock? No. So, what I've done is I requested it ages and ages ago, even before I watched the show, because I saw all of this hitting off and I was like, I'm going to request the book from the library. Lucky I did, because guess what's just come through? The e-reader of Heated Rivalry. Yes, this vlog is intending to be vlogging the whole series, but I'm relying on as and when the books are available and when I can get hold of them. So I'm just going to read them out of order. I know this is a book too. Who cares? Really? It's a romance series, okay? It's not like I have to follow cohesive plot points, right? Right? Am I going to eat my words? We will see, but I'm diving into Heated Rivalry because I am missing me some Ilya Rozanov. The sassy little motherfucker, but also Shane. Shane is nice, and he's meant to be autistic, so I'm excited for that. So come with me as we are going to get my thoughts and reactions on Heated Rivalry completely spoiler free. What do you mean that I'm not even at the end of chapter 1 and I'm already just giggling because Ilya Rozanov? Ilya Rozanov. So I've just read the prologue. The prologue, full on smut scene. Yeah, dived straight in and there was nothing holding it back. And honestly, I'm not sad about it because fucking Ilya Romanov and them together, like comparing it to the TV show. I mean, the two actors in the TV show just have so much chemistry together anyway, and they're fun, they're goofy, but with this, Ilya fucking Romanov. I did not expect it, and I'm having so much fun. Because the way this book starts is basically alluding to they've been fuck buddies for years, and Shane is like, I still hate Romanov. But what gets me is like in the prologue, there's a chapter or a line where, let me see if I can find it. After an oddly long tender kiss, Shane lifted his head and saw that Rozanov was again looking at him very seriously. He swallowed but didn't say anything. As Rozanov brushed fingers to his hair, he hoped the fear he felt wasn't showing on his face. "You're very beautiful," Rozanov said suddenly. It was said very matter-of-factly. Like, ignore my terrible Russian accent, okay? But that little moment, looking at him seriously and then complimenting Shane, I'm like, I guarantee you, Rozanov was already partially in love with Shane, and probably has been for years, because I mean, who wouldn't? It's fucking Shane, but it's fucking Ilya Rozanov, man. And then Shane just jokes because he doesn't know how to handle that. Honest to God, right? Just side note, knowing that Shane is autistic, and then you have this kind of expectation on having to deal with a lot of people and stuff like this, and then all of a sudden that person decides to just act a bit differently, it really throws you off kilter. You're kind of going a bit of a freeze moment. You're like, this is not us, this is not normal, what's going on? So then you just kind of go back to what you're used to, like Shane just making a joke because it's too awkward and too vulnerable. But there also is the fact that he could just be feeling very vulnerable because, one, he's had the best sex of his life because it's fucking Ilya Rozanov, and two, Rozanov is complimenting him, and which is kind of moving not necessarily further away from like the fuck buddies, but also potentially the same as well. So that's just the prologue, and I love them together already. I'm already on part 2 out of 4. Bearing in mind, part 3 chapters. And honestly, I'm having a good time. Like, granted, if it was fantasy-based, I'd probably enjoy it more, right? Because that's just what I gravitate towards, okay? But the fact that it's just a quick little palate cleanser, and it's just two men who Shane Hollander is like, I don't like Ilya Romanov, and Romanov is just can't get Shane out of his head the whole time, and it's going, like, watching the TV show first to like this is, I can see a couple of things where they like added things or brought things together, but done really, really well. Anyway, I'm having such a good time. But yeah, if it was a fantasy, I obviously would enjoy it a lot better. But I'm not hating it. Like, I was having a fun time. It's just a lot of, well, it's 27% through, and there's already been like 3 spicy scenes. So it is spicy, but it's also not. The way romantasy writes spice is not the way contemporary writes spice, okay? It's just not the way. And contemporary, I find, is probably how I like my spice compared to the over-the-top romantasy. I'm saying this because I have just DNF'd Brimstone. And Brimstone, oh my god, how many times has Sarah's got to fucking scream her pleasure over any little thing? It's just badly written. But with this, it's not badly written, and it's done in a way so like she builds tension, breaks it a little bit, and I like the fact that she also, one, showing a lot of how like Hollander is just an anxiety kind of guy, how he worries about things. And then you have Ilya, who is just like, cool, yeah, you're fine, this is who you are, we'll go steady, mate, it's not a problem, which is really, really quite sweet. And I do like that between both of them. I do think they're sweet, especially when you think of like Romanov, again, Russian being in Russia, never allowed to really express who he is because it's fucking Russia, who is just being sweet and caring, and even though his character is outwardly like, I don't care, I don't give a shit, the tough guy, but not really being the tough guy. Although the way they're describing Ilya in the book is completely different to how I see Ilya, because now I've seen the show, because I do have aphantasia, so now the show, I don't really even see the character now that I have watched the show, but it's just, he's just not big and muscly in my head. It's just not. But that's by the by. I'm having a lot of time. I am liking them together. And I just kind of want to sit and just vegetate and just not think about the world until the book is done, which is probably what I am going to do. And then I'm going to be like, what the fuck do I do now? It's entertaining. It's just a bunch of two men who hate each other but don't really hate each other, who are kind of fuck buddies, but Shane's like, we're not fuck buddies, we shouldn't do this again. And Holland. And then Ilya's like, okay, sure. And then they do it again, and then you kind of knew, because he's just like, yeah, whatever, this is the role we have now. And how the press as well is just pitching their rivalry against each other, even though I feel like it started because of the press, and then they never really fully hated each other. Like, the only thing that I do think that I wish it had was more emotional connection between them, but I feel like that might come later, because the whole point of like the beginning of it, I'm 27% through it, they are fuck buddies. That's literally the whole point of it. They are just fuck buddies. I got to the bit that's in the TV show. I'm coming to the cottage. I got to the bit. I'm coming to the cottage. I'm coming to the cottage. I never thought, right? Okay, so Heated Rivalry is book 2 in the series. Okay, so you have Scott Hunter and somebody else in book 1. So yeah, the whole point of the hockey team NFL thing is they say, oh, we're allies, but like homophobic things kept getting thrown around all the time, right? It happens, it's still happening today. I'm assuming I'm not American, nor am I into hockey until now, right? But Scott Hunter, I don't know if you've seen the show, you know, okay? Literally pulls his boyfriend out onto the ice, kisses him square in the fucking mouth in front of everyone, and what a way to fucking come out, mate. I am screaming, I am giggling reading this book. What do you mean? What do you mean? And everything between Ilya and Shane, like the hospital scene, like I was almost crying. The show made me cry so many times. Like, I'm not even kidding. It really did make me cry a lot of the time. But I was sitting reading this, and how Ilya was like, he's falling first. Like, he's falling, and I kind of love that he's the one who's falling first, because he's like a bit standoffish, and like his attitude is arsehole, but in an endearing way. And then Ilya is so scared for Shane, because like, he was like, oh my god, I forgot what really hurt. Bearing in mind, before that, he was like, we need to break this off, because it's not going to work, because he's like getting cold feet, because now he's falling in love with Shane, okay? And then we have the whole, like, he's in hospital, and Ilya was like, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything, I kept refreshing things I wanted to know, and like, obviously nobody was like going to tell him, because nobody, like, who would tell him? He's his rival. But then he goes to see him, and he's like, ugh. And then he doesn't want to lie, because Shane invited him to the cottage for the second time. And Ilya was like, oh, maybe. And I kept literally reading that scene, and then seeing, like, watching the show, and seeing how the actors portrayed that, I was like, impeccable fucking acting. Oh my god, that is incredible acting, from like the emotion I can get from that, making me cry. Yeah, it was very good. It was done really well, and I am screaming, and I am 70% through this book, and I started this 4 hours ago, and I was not into, well, I was into it a little bit, but not like fully into it at like the beginning. But now I'm more into it, and I'm like, obviously, if it had more fantasy stuff in it, I think I'd be more into it. I don't know. Contemporary, the only other contemporary romance I've read is Red, White and Royal Blue, which I loved. And like that book, I read in a day as well. I don't know. I'm enjoying myself. I have like 5 chapters left, and I'm having such a good time. I love them together, the chemistry, but it's Ilya. It's Ilya that's doing it for me, because Shane, yes, he's this anxious mess and all this and whatnot, but then there's Ilya who's calm and caring, and he appears outwardly standoffish, like nobody comes close to me, right? He doesn't really care about his family. Like, he's a gay man from fucking Russia. okay? With his brother and his father in the police. That is problems all on its own, but he's growing up with nobody really showing him any care. His mother died when he was young. He's got a stepmother who just probably doesn't give a shit about him. We don't really meet her. And his family are just leeching him of money because he's earning a lot of money. And then he doesn't, like, he loves the country, but he doesn't really like his family because they don't really care for him. They're just a bit like, I don't know if it's because, could it be because they might suspect? I don't know why, but his family are a little bit shit to him. His dad, even though his dad died of Alzheimer's, which when I read, they had a conversation, him and Shane, about that, and they said, like, it could be hereditary. And I went, if that's how their fucking relationships end, I'm out. Obviously it won't in this, I'm pretty sure, but if they grow old and that is, like, I'm telling myself that would never, ever, ever happen, that he would, because that would be so heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking. Which, I mean, I've never met somebody who has gone through Alzheimer's, but I could just, imagining it, I'm just like, do you know what? That is probably worse than anything else, watching somebody forget you. I'm sorry, that is one of the worst diseases. People think cancer's bad, and it is bad, but I'm like, do you know what? I say Alzheimer's is worse, because at least, like, it's the body that's failing, not the mind. Anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, so you have Ilya, who is very standoffish because of Russia, his family, his dad being a bit of a dick, his brother being even worse of a dick. So you have all of that. So he's like, not really has many attachment, doesn't really have many friends, okay? And he is suddenly being broken down by Shane. By awkward Shane Hollander, and I love that. That's what's doing it for me in this relationship. If Ilya was any different, I don't know if I would feel it, right? Because of the way the relationship started. Because with Ilya, you would have to start being fuck buddies with him, right? Because otherwise, he's just not going to care because he's so afraid of being attached. But now he's admitting to himself his true feelings, and he's terrified, and he wants to run away from Shane. But then he's like, Shane is injured, and I can't do this. So then, fucking Scott Hunter, just kisses a guy in front of everybody at the end of, like, the season game, right? And he just rings fucking Shane and he's like, I'm coming to the cottage, and I am freaking out. I saw so many skits on the internet about people freaking out over the fact that he was going to go to the cottage. He was going to the cottage. And now I'm one of those people. Which is why I can't wait to read the rest of the series. But I want to get to the end of this book, because where the season ended, I don't think that's where the book is going to end. Possibly. I don't know, because the way things happen, because obviously you have book one, and, like, Scott Hunter didn't outwardly come out, right? Unless they're blending the two timelines, which could be possible. That actually could be possible. I don't know. I'll have to back and read book one and find out. Hopefully when it comes to bloody stock soon, because my library is, like, several months wait. I can't wait several months. Anyway, I'm going to go back and read. I am one of the people. Am I a romance girl now? Possibly. So there was one scene in the show that I loved, and comparing it and actually reading it. Rachel Reed literally wrote that scene, right? So, I need to phrase this YouTube friendly. We're gonna discuss the smut. Shane gets a call from a friend, and Ilya, a little bisexual, sassy little bitch, is like, I want to play a game. You can kind of guess where it's going, can't you? You can kind of guess. He starts playing with Shane. And Shane is still on the fucking phone. Keeps muting it, being like, what the fuck you doing? But it's the game they're playing. And all the whole time I'm reading this, I'm like, that scene, wild. Fucking wild, right? Was wild in the show, was wild in the book. But I'm also thinking, how the fuck is the guy Hayden on the other side of the phone not noticing and not saying anything? Is he too polite? Is he being too polite? Because would you do that in a situation? Would you be like, I'm going to pretend I'm not hearing this? I don't know if I would. I might be like, dude, are you... I can't say the words. Because I don't know if you two would allow me. But I am thinking about the guy on the other side of the phone being like, like, he get off the phone to talk to his wife. It's like, the wife goes, how is Shane? It's like, a bit weird, a bit panty, out of breath. Maybe he's been running. It was wild, absolutely wild. I'm here for it, honestly. The wild shit, yeah. I also can't believe they also wrote that. This is not a tame book. If you are going into a romance book wanting tame, this is not it. Okay, this is the sweetest thing. So Ilya is literally thinking about, like, I'm forming a plan, and he's, like, thinking about kind of what okay, let me just read you this line. When his imagination was reckless enough to conjure images of the two of them together as a couple, living together, married? Fuck, it was ridiculous. I'm like, yes, do you know how much I want this? Like, I'm not really into the marriage trope. I just don't, personally, just, on the trope, okay? But with Ilya already thinking that, like, they want to live together. He wants to live with him. But he's like, this can't happen because he's literally Hollander's rival and it could be the end of both of their careers. Not because they would be gay, but that is also a big possibility, but also because they are rivals together. I so want this to pan out. Don't tell me. Their dream better fucking come true, because if it doesn't, oh my god, I'm gonna go insane. I'm gonna cry. Why do romance novels make me cry? What is wrong with me? I loved it. I loved it so much. I don't know what to say. I almost wish they would have included that ending in the show, because they didn't include that. Like, it was just like a little bit extra to, like, you already have a rough idea, but I kind of wish they would have gone on a little bit. It was literally like one extra scene, okay, that they could have done, but they didn't. And I loved it, and I almost want to go back and reread it. What am I doing? No, it's late. It's 10 o'clock. I can't reread it, but I would. Incoherent thoughts right now. Incoherent. All I can say is right now, I did love it. I would reread it, and I would recommend it. And the ending, and okay, not so incoherent right now. The way that they spoke about the charity, about the suicide prevention, all of that, fucking love, right? Tears, okay? But then Ilya comes out and speaks about his mother. Bearing in mind, in Russia, because they are fucking Russia, they lied about how his mother died. They said she had an accident. Yeah, accidentally swallowed a lot of pills. Yeah, right. But he knew. So he was like, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to come out. And Ilya, as a person, is a private person. So nobody in the hockey sphere, like the press or whatever, would know anything about Ilya. And then all of a sudden they're finding out about this. And it's like, and then there's Shane who's like, I just need to, and like, we need to comfort him. And oh my God. So they told some of their friends, okay? They did tell some of their friends that, you know, they're seeing each other. And Hayden is like, Ilya fucking Rozanov. And it's like, yeah. And they are bantering back and forth. He literally punched Ilya in the face because Ilya was being a sassy little bitch. But we love Ilya as a sassy little bitch. I like them together. And then, oh, it was so sweet. Why have I not read contemporary romance before? Well, tell a lie, I have. I did read Red, White and Royal Blue and I loved it. So now I'm like, my second contemporary romance, I'm like, I almost want more. I kind of almost do want more. Heated Rivalry. The whole hockey team, this kind of gives me Green Creek vibes. When I say Green Creek vibes, and I'm pretty sure this is probably not necessarily going to be the case in this one, but I have a feeling like with Heated Rivalry, same with Green Creek, where in Green Creek they literally go, we are literally the gayest pack alive. It's shifter romance, right? But they're all gay, right? It's a 4-book series. Amazing, love it, perfect. But a lot of the pack that they create of themselves are literally gay. I have a suspicion a lot of the hockey people in this series is gonna be literally gay. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I can't wait to continue the series. I really, really hope that the other books can go to the printer really, really soon so I can pick them up, because my library hold for like, I think it's like book 1. Maybe. Game Changer. Okay, that's only 6 weeks. It's not so bad. It's 6 weeks. I'm 27th in line, right? I started 41st. But all the other ones, which I haven't actually even looked at yet, is like several months for the others. Several months for all of the rest. I can't wait that long. What do you mean it's several? I cannot wait that long. 6 weeks is pushing it, right? If I had book 1 right now, I'd be diving in right now. Who needs fucking sleep, right? I need to read about these gay hockey players. Fucking amazing. 5 stars. I don't care. All the fucking stars. I totally recommend this book. I'm really glad that I watched the TV show. And now I'm going to go back and rewatch the TV show because I need some more Ilya fucking Romanov in my life right now. So you know how I said that I was going to wait until these editions came available either via my library or I had them physically? I'm eating my words right now. I am now reading The Long Game because I was talking to a couple of friends online and they were like, you need to read The Long Game, like right now. And then I'm so obsessed that I was watching edits and interviews and stuff with the cast and the characters and from the show, and I'm just fully obsessed. I'm even listening to the soundtrack. When I tell you my obsession, completely through the roof, absolutely obsessed. So I'm reading The Long Game, and let me tell you, I've cried twice. I've annotated 9 times, and I'm 7% through the book. This book is going to destroy me because it's picking up like a little bit later from where we leave them in, well, a year later from where we leave them in Heated Rivalry, right? So they have like this charity that they've done together and named after Ilya's mother, which is just so sweet and in and of itself. And they're teaching hockey, and all the proceeds go to help with mental health organizations, which is brilliant. I love it. But you have Ilya. It's Ilya fucking Rozanov, right? The sassy bisexual man who is full of so much emotion but doesn't really know how to say it. And I am crying for him because Shane is so worried about what's going to happen when people figure out that they're dating. And Ilya's like acting like it's all cool, but he's not really cool because literally this line sent me just crying. He closed his eyes and focused on how good it felt to be with Shane, alone in the dark, and tried not to wish it could be the same in the light. What do you mean? What do you mean? You write something like that, Miss Rachel Reed? How dare you tear up my heartstrings and just want them to be happy? I just want them to be happy. Is that too much to ask? It's the romance. I'm hoping it is going to end up being that way, but I know this is going to be a book that's going to be a bit rocky in their relationship. It happens all the time in real life, and I'm scared because I'm just like, no, they need to be happy together. They need to be happy, and Shane needs to get over his fucking shit. I understand why. Okay, I understand why Shane's scared, but I'm also like, Shane, man, please, for fucking Ilya, please. I'm enjoying this book, and I am not going to apologise for the language that's going to come out of my mouth as I'm reading this book, because this has me in such a chokehold. I am beyond obsessed. I love them so much. After this, I'm going to rewatch the whole fucking TV show. You watch me. Oh, this book is making me cry again, and it's probably not what everybody thinks. So, the author is touching on depression, and in the show and in the previous book, you find out from Ilya, that Ilya's mother died from depression, basically. And Ilya is, and in this moment and in this scene, it's really heartbreaking because he's waking up and like all through this, before this, I'm like, Ilya's depressed. He's totally depressed. And the fact that the author then decided to touch on this was just perfect, and I really hope that it's going to come together because there's all of everything else going on. He's not like in love with hockey as he used to, right? He doesn't really care that his team winning as much as it should be, and there's all sorts of other things going along with that. And then you have Shane isn't there. He's not there a lot of the time. And Ilya, because of his father used to be and all of everything else, his mother died when he was 12. He's touch starved. He's like, he needs that kind of touch, that reassurance all the time, or just being held, or just a brush of fingers, or just something just to reassure him. And Shane is good enough at doing that. I mean, he can be a bit oblivious sometimes. Granted, so can I. I mean, he is a bit on autism, so we can be. But there is also the fact that he's just not there, and Ilya wants him. And Ilya, even though he can profess himself a lot, he's struggling to like really almost tell him that I am struggling, and it's very hard to tell people struggling. Like, oh my god, that's like, I shouldn't be struggling. What do you mean? It shouldn't be possible. But then you are, and it's just the way that came about. And then he just picks up and he just texts like, I just. Almost like, it's like, I need to text Shane. And there was a scene before that where he kind of felt a little bit the same, and he texted Shane to be like, are you up? It was like 1 a.m. in the morning, so Shane was asleep, but didn't see it till the next morning. And I could just imagine Ilya sitting there hearing like the silence of Shane answering because Shane is asleep, and Shane doesn't know. So Shane doesn't know he missed a really important thing. And it's kind of like, like sitting there, and Ilya feeling worse and worse and worse because the one person that he really wanted to talk is not available because he was asleep and because he's nowhere close. And it's not like Ilya could just text like, dude, I'm having a fucking mental breakdown. I think I'm depressed. I need to talk to you. Because of course, if that happened, Shane would be like, what the fuck? I'm flying over right now. But that Ilya just doesn't. It's just, there's so much going into it, and it's just making me cry. Just reading him in this scene, just texting Shane, and Shane texting back, and Ilya being a little bit of his jokey arsehole self, just to hide behind the fact that he's actually really suffering. And it's just so sad, and the fact that it's so reminiscent of what so many people go through. And that's the whole reason like they set up their charity, was meant to help people. And like, he's reflecting on his mother at the same time and having these dreams on his mother who can never meet Shane, and he misses her. I'm not well. I am crying. It's over the smallest little thing, but I am crying. But yet here I am, because there's so many people who are probably in the same state of mind as Ilya and unable to actually get help, and it's just really, really sad. I have just sobbed so hard in my life that I had to put the book down. I haven't had to do that since I've read Robin Hobb. What do you mean this fun little romance right here. This fun little romance right. I read the plane scene. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to put this book, it's not a literal, like, nothing drastic happened, but I remember going, like, don't you dare. I mean, obviously I knew it was going to happen, but also there's, like, the, what if something does happen, but it's not, like, life-threatening, but it's still threatening? Off the plane that Ilya's on, right? Fucking Ilya, and they had a massive argument, and Ilya is also going to therapy and dealing with that, and I'm like crying and thinking like, maybe I need to see a fucking therapist, but I'm poor, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then he's on the plane, right? They kind of make up, but don't really make up. And then it's kind of like he's on the plane and he thinks he's dying, okay? He's not, right? It's a romance novel, but it literally, I wrote this quote down and it made me fucking sob. I am thinking, so bearing in mind, he texted this to Shane. Well, Shane's playing a game because he's in the air and he's thinking he's dying. Everybody else is screaming. Ilya's screaming. It's just, right? Can you imagine reading that text after finding out what happened on that plane and be like, everybody's fine? And he knows, and like Shane knows Ilya is fine when he reads this message, but he's also like, that is a lot, right? And he's crying and he's trying to hold it together because he still doesn't want people to know, but he's also like thinking about what happened, if anything did happen to Ilya, right? And the message that he sent was, I'm thinking only about you right now, a million memories, thank you for those. Whatever happens, I'm with you, safe in your heart, I believe it. You were telling me a man like fucking Ilya Rozanov, who hates talking about his feelings, can just text that to Shane like it's fine. And I'm sobbing over here. I have full on tears, like sobbing. Like, what are you doing? What world does this silly little romance? It's meant to be a silly romance, okay? A hockey little silly romance that I'm just meant to read. Gay men getting railed all the time, and I'm sitting here crying over this fucking man, Ilya Rozanov. Ilya fucking Rozanov. Just tearing at my heartstrings and just making me go, I need a break. I need a break. I need, what the fuck? What do you mean? This book is going to be the top book of my year, and it's January, and it will be the second book I finish of the year, and nothing is going to beat it. I'm calling that. I never knew romance could do this. If there was any other book that was like Game Changers, that pulled at my heartstrings like this, that was contemporary romance, I would read it. More over any fantasy book you can give me, I would read this. The emotion that's in these two characters, the way they are battling, the way that they both want to come out, but Shane is so scared. And then there's Ilya, who's just wanting something, and wanting him, and wanting to scream because of, one, partly the depression, but two, the whole secrecy of the two together. And Shane is a little bit oblivious sometimes to Ilya, but Ilya is a little bit not open with his feelings, so there's a kind of little bit of both problems in that sense, and they kind of clash and they have this argument, but they come in again, and it's just so. But the way Rachel Reed writes these characters, the way she builds these tensions and how they still care and love each other, but there's this really rocky thing happening between them because they're hiding so much, and Ilya wants to be, part of him wants to be openly out, part of him doesn't because of the consequences that could happen, but he still wants to just walk out in public or wherever he is and just hold his boyfriend. That's all he wants. And it's also really kind of depressing because I kind of get it, right? I don't know if I'm TMIing a little bit here, oversharing maybe, but I don't care. You are all my besties here. So I don't know if it's just because it can be because you're on the spectrum, but also other things can come within it as well. But it can also be very, very lonely. And I really resonate with Ilya when he's talking about doesn't really have any friends. All of his friends are like Shane's friends. And then his like Shane's parents, which are brilliant because he didn't have like a brilliant childhood. His mother died and his dad was a dick. And being in Russia didn't obviously help either. But then he left Boston to go to Ottawa, where he had some friends in Boston. He doesn't really talk to them that much. And Ilya isn't really the type of person who would just like reach out. He's more of like reserved and just hides behind a couple of jokes. And it's like, well, he's feeling a lot more deeply and he feels very, very deeply, which I resonate with as well. And then he's just, what do you do when you have this big secret and all this pressure on you and you can't really talk to anyone about it because all of your friends are your boyfriend's friends? When you want to talk to him about like the situation or just more than stuff, and you don't really
necessarily want something to go back to your boyfriend just yet, because you're not ready to talk about it with him yet, because it's scary, but you have to talk. Like, there's so many things around that, and I don't know, I really resonate with Ilya Rozanov. I feel so much for Ilya Rozanov. I would die for that fucking man, right? He's a fictional guy. I don't care. I would die for that man. This book is going to break me. It's going to break me. I want to finish it before tomorrow, because I have work tomorrow, and I know I'm not going to be able to do anything until I've finished the book. It's just going to consume me. It's just going to consume me, but I need to decompress a little bit, because I had through a lot of emotions reading. Who knew I would have so many emotions reading a romance novel? I'm done. I finished. This book. This fucking book. I don't think I even cried this hard when I was reading Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. And if you know the ending of that book, you know that most people sob their way through that. And I did. For like 200 pages, I couldn't stop. I couldn't read through the tears. This was me reading The Long Game. I don't even know what to say. I sobbed through so many things. So many things that happened. And I sat here for a long time. I finished this about half hour ago. I sat here just crying because, one, how perfect it was, because every time I think about Ilya and Shane and how in love they are, I start crying. And I was listening to the Heated Rivalry soundtrack while reading this, and every time the song You Came On, it's You Came On by Peter, apparently, I just lost it. I just lost it because of that and how they started, and then they got to where they are, and I'm a mess, okay? I need to stop crying, because I've been crying for like half an hour. When I say crying, I mean literal sobbing, because of how in love these characters are, but also how perfect the book is, and also because the book is over, because I want to live in their life forever. I just want Ilya and Shane. I just want to be in their world. I want to read about their world, just for the end of days, forever. Fuck anything else. Fuck any other books. Fuck work. I just want to live in his life, in their life right now, because of how in love they are, and it's just so sweet. And I never used to like romance. What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with me, actually. Romance is perfect, and romance makes you cry, and it's fine. I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm not fine. I am an absolute mess over two fictional hockey men, and I don't know what to do. I don't think any romantasy book out there will give me the kind of emotion that this book did. It just won't. It's just impossible. I feel a bit raw. I feel a bit empty. I feel emotionally drained. And I have downloaded Heated Rivalry audiobook that I am going to put on as I go to bed, because I am not ready to give up this book series yet. Specifically, Ilya and Shane, because they are perfect. With everything they went through, and Ilya talking about his depression, and then opening up to Shane, and Shane being like, I want to help, but I don't know how to help, but also like, yeah, you're having these struggles, but I will be there with you the whole time. And then the games, and then obviously people found out about them and they didn't mean to, and Hayden is such a good friend as well, even though it was a mistake, and and how hockey as well, highlighting how homophobic hockey can be, even though like, oh, we're exclusive, we're very inclusive, you can do whatever, but also like, don't fucking come out and lie because we saw you kissing on camera. Like, hello, that guy can fuck right off. Crowell, I think his name is, yeah, Crowell can fuck right off. How Ilya is just happier almost that they're out as well, so that secret isn't on them, and Shane is as well, and then his teammates, his Montreal teammates that he has been playing with for 13 fucking years, pretty much, were just like, what? They knew he was gay, they were fine when he was gay, but because it's Ilya Romanov, have you met Ilya Romanov, who feels so deeply for everybody he cares about, it's almost too much, so he hides behind this wall of humour, because he just hides behind being an asshole to protect his own self. The fuck, man? The actual fuck? I would die for that fucking guy. I am not joking. He's a fictional fucking character, but I would, at no circumstances, throw myself in front of a bus for that guy. The ending. I would literally read a book that is just them doing domestic shit. I don't care what it is, just them being together and happy, and I would sob my way through that. And I know there's been a bit of releases. Apparently there's a book 7 coming, and I cannot wait for that book, because this destroyed me so emotionally that I don't know what to do with my life anymore. I am distraught. I am wrung out. I have cried myself out, but I'm probably going to go cry myself to bed thinking about these two gay couple in love because, oh my god, and how they started and how they fell in love as well. I can't. I am not well in the best way possible. I love books like this. I never knew. This is a romance book. And I think, I don't know if this is why I cried so much during this book, because Rachel Reed touched very brilliantly on real world things as well, while still keeping it fictional, without making it literally homophobic. Granted, there was a couple of scenes for some characters that were homophobic, but it wasn't like this big thing that was around it. It was like, no, the main focus is on Ilya and Shane and on their relationship and how Ilya is struggling with depression, but how also they both want to come out but are afraid of coming out, because not because of their gayness necessarily, but because of the way that they know they're going to be treated because they are both rivals, because it got built up from the start of them being rivals, and how that's all unfolding. That was what a lot of people were pissed off about when eventually it did leak and it did come out. I want to go straight back in and reread it. If I didn't need to sleep, if I didn't have work tomorrow, it's 11 fucking p.m. I'm in bed by 8 p.m. That's the type of life I live, right? I'm literally Shane Hollander, okay? Okay, right? I'm the boring Shane Hollander in bed by 8. Yeah. I would be diving straight back into these books. I would read them. I would binge read them. I don't want to leave this world at all. And I haven't felt like that in a long time. Probably since I read The Faithful and the Fallen, maybe, by John Gwynne. Definitely when I finished Around with the Elderlings. There's only 2 books. It's 2 little romance books. They're not even 400 pages long. And I'm just sitting here, like, I don't want to let them go because of how emotionally wrought out they made me feel. It's romance. Romance is meant to be sweet and fluffy, not like making me sob so much I can't read. If anybody has any recommendations of like that, please drop them down below. I'm in the market. I'm not lying when I tell you this has taken over my life. I have read Heated Rivalry and Game Changers 3 times within a week of finishing Game Changers. I finished Game Changers, I downloaded the audiobook, and the Bible professor narrates it into my ears, which is, he's not a good narrator, okay? But I'm suffering through that because it's fucking it's fucking Hollander, man. And I am obsessed. I am addicted. I have found my drug that I cannot give up. It is my heroin I am injecting into my veins. What do you mean that somebody can write a character like those two and just move on with their life? Like, if somebody can just sit and read this book and then read Game Changers and then watch the show, I'm like, I cannot possibly relate, because I've been watching the show, I've been watching it at the fucking gym, I've been reading the books at the gym, I have been going to the gym more because of Heated Rivalry. They've instilled a confidence in me that I did not have before, and I am not unhappy about it. Anybody mentions Heated Rivalry, I'm just fucking there. Like, what do you mean you talk about Heated Rivalry? I am there. I am just, like, insanely obsessed. I am going down deep dives. I am watching the show, picking up new little things. I am rereading the books. I have ideas of videos. I want to talk about Rachel Reed's spice. I want to talk about how she drafts her characters, how even in these little moments here, like at the beginning of the book, you're, oh right, yeah, he's already clocked it. Or here, it was this moment that he was like, that's your future husband, mate. I'm gonna fall in love with that guy. And I was like, yes, I can see it. And Ilya and everything that's going on, and Shane, oh my god, I love Shane, but sometimes I'm like, Shane, Ilya is in so much pain. But I need to stop talking about these two. So I tried listening to Game Changer audio, but because the stupid fucking Bible professor is, if you don't know that I don't know. Nobody's probably online as much as I am, okay? But if you didn't know, the person who narrates the first, I think, 3 books in the series, Tom Thor or something, he's a Bible professor. Yeah, I found that out when I was on Instagram, and that is something. He's also not a very good narrator, but he is narrating the raunchiest scenes. But Game Changers, I tried to listen to that, I couldn't do it. His voice for Kip was so weird. It was like really rough and growly, and yet again, because I've seen the show, Kip is the little sweetheart. Like, come on. He's little sweet and cute, runs a smoothie shop, and he meets Scott. So I need to do that physically, but the trouble is, everything I'm reading is just either Heated Rivalry or The Long Game. That's it. Okay, so, but I have started listening. Is it Common Goal? So Libby did a audio for 3 books for 1 credit, so I got it, which was Common Goal, Role Model, and The Long Game. Obviously, I already own The Long Game, but Common Goal. I'm reading Common Goal, and I don't know how far into it because it's one big audio thing, but I'm having a good time. It's between fucking Kyle. If you know that anybody named Kyle after reading Ship of Magic series, sorry man, but to be fair, this Kyle is kind of sweet. I can't believe it's called fucking Kyle, but this Kyle is kind of sweet. And then there's Eric, who's 41, which give me older romances, please. Yes, I'm having it, and even better that it is gay. So yes, it's between Kyle and Eric, who's 41, who's in his last year of playing, you think. He was married and had a divorce, and he's now admitting that he has other preferences, right? He's not just women, right? Shame he's not like our chaos bisexual goblin Ilya Rozanov. And he meets Kyle, and Kyle is too into Kip, right? Kip is taken, but he's like, Kip, like besotted. And so they sort of, not necessarily, like the point I'm at, nothing has happened yet, but from the blurb, I know that they have like the same kind of dynamic, well, not really. I was going to say the same kind of dynamic as Hollander, but they don't, because Hollander, nobody can have the same kind of dynamic. But they do start off as hookups, and so far we haven't gotten to that bit yet. But Kyle was basically offering to be like, well, you want to get out and, you know, find some different preferences, do some stuff that will be with men, not just women after your divorce. So let's go to this gay bar together and see if we can find something that you might like. But he's also like, what I love about these books, consent is fucking key, right? And she writes it with not being so obvious about consent. Like, I could go on about Ilya at this moment. Do I? Yeah, fuck it. The way Ilya, every time he stays with Shane, sleeps with Shane, he's always checking in, always like, everything okay? Is this all right? Right? Are you good? Like, cool, fun. And Shane is just like besotted and very fucking horny for Ilya Rozanov. But he's like, yeah, it's fine. But that's how Rachel Reed does it. And again, I'm seeing it here. So yes, it's not necessarily a sexual thing, but they're at this gay bar, and Carla's literally just said, like, look, we don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like, we're here. You can pick out preferences. If you want to go home with somebody, that's totally fine. If you don't, we will just leave. We'll have a good time. It's not a problem. And like that reassurance of being like, oh, actually, this expectation I'm putting on myself is me, when actually it's my decision to do what I do and what don't want to do. Oh, okay, that's totally fine. Give me more of this. Like, this is what I want. This is what I love about these romance books. But I am enjoying Common Goal. I do like Kyle, even though his name's fucking Kyle. But I do also like Eric. The trouble is, I'm reading these books, right? I'm going through this. I am going to eventually, hopefully when I've gone through my 3rd reread of Heated Rivalry, I will then pick up Game Changers and hopefully actually sit down and read that. But they're just not Hollander. They're just not Heated Rivalry. They're just not The Long Game. Like, The Long Game really picks up like from Heated Rivalry and develops their story, but the way that it spanned so many years, and to me it just feels so epic that nothing is going to be able to compare. Like, nothing is going to compare to Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. It's a contemporary romance, and yet it has me so obsessed, and to the point that I can't not read anything else that is not Heated Rivalry in The Long Game. That is between those two, that I'm highlighting, that I'm literally sitting here crying and screaming and sending reels and talking about all these quiet moments between them with so many different friends. At this point, I should just create a bloody group chat. That's how good those books were. And that's how different. And I had no idea the romance genre could go this deep, could go this fucking deep, to the point that I'm like, actually, I want more books like that. Like, fantasy, great and fun, and it can go deep and do all sorts of stuff, but this, the way, the characters and the subtleties between, it's amazing. But I am enjoying Come and Go. And I'm going to go and listen to the Heated Rivalry soundtrack that I have been doing every single minute that I have not been listening to the audiobooks, to try and get some work done, because I need to do my taxes tomorrow. I also need to go meet somebody for a potential job I might be house sitting for today and tomorrow morning. And I also want to go to the gym, but the gym isn't so much of a problem because I feel like I'm embodying my own, like, Hudson Williams and Connor Story, like that kind of dynamic of being fit and not necessarily eating healthy, but just going to the gym and just being like, yeah, cool, I want to do this. I want my body to look cool. I want to be confident. That's what this show has done to me. And the books. More the show, though. It's not a problem, I swear. So, I am on chapter 20 something, I think, of Common Goal. And it's fine. I'm putting it on, so I'm not just constantly reading
reading about Shay and Ilya because I'm coming up to finishing the audiobook for the second read through of The Long Game. And then I know I'm going to want to go back into Heated Rivalry, but the trouble is I'm still reading the ebook of Heated Rivalry. I can't do those two at the same time. I can't do audiobook of Heated Rivalry and the ebook of Heated Rivalry being in different points. No. So I'm kind of stretching it out a little bit, shall we say. And let me tell you, come and go. It's fine. I don't know, the characters in this one aren't doing it for me. Partly, it is Shane and Ilya's fault. It's their fault. It's just their fault. Okay, their romance was so brilliant and so fucking epic and amazing, spanning so many years, that you have this little cute gay romance between Eric and Kyle. Fucking Kyle. I can't not say that. I'm sorry, I can't not say fucking Kyle because of Ship of Magic. Okay, if you know, you know. But between Eric and Kyle, and it's just, I think I might have been into it a bit more if I hadn't read Heated Rivalry first and Shane and Ilya hadn't taken over my life. But we are here and it's a problem. I always knew everything after reading Heated Rivalry is never going to hit quite as much as I want it to. So this is the problem we are having. But they've had a couple of hookups, which was fine. Which also, I was sitting in my gym car park just scrolling Discord before I went in because it was pissing my brain, and realised my audiobook's quite loud. And on the spicy scene. Yeah, that's the way I roll apparently. But it was fine. There's a little bit of bondage in the spice scene. But even with the bondage, like a little bit kinky stuff going on, which I don't mind the fact that Rachel Reed is writing about this, because there are kinks and other things, but I do feel like a lot of authors don't feel like how have the confidence or whatever with writing kinks in the books that I've read. Mainly fantasy romance, just to be clear, new in the contemporary era. But with all of that, but even with the kinks and the bondage and whatever's going on, it's quite nice that the fact Rachel Reed is still having the characters check in with each other and be like, you okay? Like, is this fine? Yes or no to this? Like, being very clear on being like, I'm not pressuring you. I'm asking a question. If you say no, we're going to drop it. We ain't going to do it. Okay? And at any point as well, with them trying these new things, and they agree to say yes because they want to try it, but she's still having the character check in and be like, are you still okay? Are you still okay with this? Are you, like, checking in with them? Amazing. Absolutely love this. But as the two characters go, I don't know. I kind of feel like okay, when I say this, it is probably because I am still manifesting an Ilya and a Shane thing, and I knew it wouldn't work anyway, because people are going to go, you're just rewriting Ilya and Shane's story. Yeah, entirely. But it is like the hookups basically with Carla and Eric, and I kind of feel like, oh, this could have gone over from a couple of years, I might be into it, but now I'm like, that's just Ilya and Shane. They have taken over my life, but there is also an age gap, about 15 years. They are both adults. I think Carl is, hang on, I need to do math. Eric is 41. Carl is 15 years younger than that. Figure that out. I'm not a mathematician, okay? In fact, I'm terrible at math. But what I like about this is, I know not a lot of people like age gaps, okay? 15 years is a little bit, in my preference, on the stretching side, but I've also known people who've been 20 years and they've been fine. In like later life, they find themselves in later life and they're fine. But what Rachel Reed has done is she has made Kyle, the one who's the younger one, more confident in things, especially coming to the bedroom. Don't get me wrong, Eric is there, but he's like, this is the first time he's done anything with a man, right? He's 41, bisexual, who's only recently just gone, do you know what? I am going to accept I am now bisexual. Because of everything that happened with Scott and Kip. In book, I will say book one, haven't quite read it yet. And so I like that dynamic that she's done. She's made sure that, again, he's the one who's being more vulnerable. So he is not, the older one is not using or abusing the younger one. Not that I think if she switched it, it would be that, but she's making it very clear the older one is the one who has less power here, especially in the bedroom, especially with all of these experiences, especially with what they want, right? So Kyle has all the power. He holds, not all of it, obviously, but that dynamic is there, right? Because there is that like age gap, which I do like, and that's how I kind of feel like age gaps kind of have to be done, but that's another discussion for another day. But it's just fine. It's nothing, I'm not like sitting there kicking my feet. It's an audiobook that's on, this audiobook narrator is better than the Bible professor, but not perfect. We need somebody like fucking HUDCon to just narrate all of them. But there we go. But it's fine. I don't know, maybe close to the end. We had a couple of spicy scenes. Again, it's fine. It's not doing a lot. So I've heard apparently there's a lot of Ilya in Role Model, so that might just get an extra star just for having Ilya Rozanov in it. This is a healthy obsession, I swear. Right. This is editing there here. I finished Common Goal. And I wanted to bury that book away from my brain. I wanted to forget it so much. I forgot to update you on it. So yeah, I finished Common Goal. It was terrible. I was so close just saying fuck it and DNFing it. I don't understand how Rachel Reed can have a romance with so much yearning and chemistry between these two characters that spans literal years. And yet she writes something like Common Goal that's just trash, with no chemistry between the characters. And granted, the age gap thing was a little bit weird. People can do whatever the fuck they want, right? Okay, it is age gap. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm a bit ambivalent on them, right? This one didn't really work for me on that case, but it was just, I don't know. Like, it started off okay. It was fine. The more I was going into it, the more I was like, what now? I think I know myself as a romance reader, and I think I am a slow burn romance reader. And if there is no slow burn, I don't like it. And that is exactly what happened here, and it's exactly what's happening with the other books in the series. It's a reason why I love Heated Rivalry so fucking much, because it's such a slow burn. It spans 9 years before they even say I love you. 9 fucking years. 9 years. That is the slow burn I love, right? Give me the 9-year gap. Yes, please. This didn't do it, and I want to burn it from my brain so much because I don't know. I didn't really get on with either Carl or Eric. Like, separately as characters, they're fine. Together, they just had like hardly any chemistry. It was just bad and terrible, and probably didn't help that I did the audiobook for it. But there we go. I'm glad I didn't buy all the books because I would have hated that one. Although everybody's like vying for them, so I probably could have resold it pretty easily, but there we go. And no. And the ending of it was, didn't really like it. The smart scenes on it, it was a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit weird because you have Kyle bear in mind Kyle's the younger guy, offering to, I don't even know who's offering. He's flirting a little bit, I'd say, while also offering to be like, I'll be your first and teach you stuff. And Eric's like, no. Then it's like, well, actually, maybe. And then they have the first thing. And then it's like, oh, now we're going to go and see if we can get you to pick up a guy. It's just weird. Maybe it's just I'm too asexual for this and I just don't get it. But no, didn't really like it. Didn't really like it at all. And I wish it would die. And no surprise with a guy with a character called fucking Kyle. And then obviously I did pick up, was it Role Model? It was Role Model, which started off really, really sweet. I don't think I mentioned this in my ending thoughts on this because I thought I filmed a clip and what happened to that? It started off really sweet. I do like Troy Barrett a lot, actually, and I like Harris. They both work really well together. I do like them. I mean, it was just fine as a romance book. It was fine, right? I didn't hate it. I also wasn't head over heels in love with it. So there is that, but it is fine. And I do like the fact that they did delve a little bit into the whole Dallas Kent being fucking rapist side of it as well. It's making it feel a little bit more real. But what I do find a lot with Rachel Reed's writing and stuff for this, which did also happen with Ilya and his depression, she does a little bit of surface level with it. She doesn't go fully into a deep dive, which it depends on what you want to write, what's going to happen. Like, it's not the end of the world for me, but I would have liked to see a bit more personally. That's just me. Because I like deep dives or stuff like this. But I did like those two together. They were very, very sweet. And how, just like Troy Barrett going through some shit, right? His best friend has been accused of being a rapist. He then goes, do you know what? I fucking believe those women. We stand with Troy Barrett, right? He's an ally. And he was like, no, I believe it. I'm going to do something, right? I'm this hockey player. I'm going to start talking about it, okay? Not necessarily about Dallas Kent, but just like beefing up these women and being like, I believe you. This is what you can do to get help, okay? Brilliant. Love Troy Barrett. The fucking commissioner for hockey can get in the bin because what the fuck is he told Troy Barrett to stop. And I'm like, this is Dallas Kent, right? Yeah, I know he's a big hockey star, but also your fans. What would it look like on you What don't you want people looking into your background for? That's what I've been thinking. So, but it was nice to see Dallas Kent did actually get arrested for that, which was good. And I liked that Troy Barrett, again, going through some stuff, because it must be like also understanding as well that he didn't necessarily participate in any of this, but was kind of like, do you know what? I've heard these things. I haven't really like approached my friend about it, or just being a part of a group because you're so worried that you need to fit in, so you go along with what everybody else is doing. Not saying Troy Barrett did anything heinous to other women, but just like where they just joke about other couple of things, and some of the jokes might not have been brilliant. He might have been slightly homophobic because he was really worried about people finding out that he was actually gay. What I did love actually in this book was Troy's mum. So his family have been split and his dad had come, and his mum would literally, he rung up, came out to his mum, which I thought was really sweet. And then she met him with her boyfriend at his game, and they met Harris, and that was sweet. I really, really loved when they did that, how that all came about. I thought that was cute, and I just love, weirdly enough, the family meet and greet. That's like my favourite thing. So that was really sweet. But yes, I hated Common Goal. Role Model was cute. I enjoyed it. Now we're going to go back to the original timeline.
Well, hello. It's been a hot minute since I've updated you on some things. Mainly of which, I don't know if you can properly see. Let's see if we can. I got a Bone Raiders shirt. Oh, ignore it. It's just covered in hay. But I also got a t-shirt and a pajama. I'm calling it a pajama t-shirt, but it's not really. But I just use it as a pajama t-shirt. But yeah, Ilya Rozanov, mate. It does say Rozanov on the back. I don't know if you can kind of see. Can you see? Can you see? I got my Bone Raiders jumper, and I have been going to the gym in my jumper and my t-shirt, hoping that somebody will like shout out, "I'm coming to the cottage," or something like that, and I would just be like, "Bitch, me too." But no. Nobody's done it yet, and it is highly disappointing. It is highly disappointing. But I'm here to give you an update. I finished Role Model like last week, and I haven't managed to update you since then. And I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked Tom Barrett. Is it Tom Barrett? I don't know. I should probably know this, but I have been so consumed by reading fan fiction of Ilya and Shane in the past week. Things get forgotten. Oh, it's Troy Barrett. There we go. Close enough. Close enough. But he meets Harris, and I actually do really like Harris. I liked him in the long game, and I like the dynamics that we see with Role Model and the long game. And I did see somebody else who was doing a tandem read of both of them, so like the timelines add up, because we had the plane scene from Troy's point of view and like Ilya freaking out, and then I'm like, but Shane's now freaking out, right? Because of the messages that Ilya sent, freaking out, and there's the other kind of stuff. What I did kind of miss, which Rachel Reed does a lot of the time with her books, is we don't really get much outside of the relationships. So like we got a little bit of like Troy Barrett's and Ilya like romance coming on, right? But we don't really get more than that. We don't really get them like going to like, I don't know. I think I just want more. Maybe I just want more Ilya Rozanov, which true. So I finished Role Model, and I had a really good time. I did enjoy it. I liked how things progressed. I actually quite liked as well that she. It depends how you look at it, really. So Harris has had a couple of heart surgeries, right? And he's mostly fine. I also have a heart condition. If you didn't, it's very minor, right? It's cool and fine. I don't really call it a heart problem because it panics people, but it's also my heart got electrocuted back into a rhythm. It's fine. But I did like that aspect of it, but it didn't add anything to the story. There was nothing that was there. There was nothing really showing that this was, which most of the time is probably not, right? Debilitating for Harris. So it depends how you look at it. If it's just showing, oh, this is just cool, this thing happened, people have this stuff happen all the time, so it's fine. Cool, it's fine. But if you wanted more exploration on this kind of disability or this condition, you're not going to get that. But I did like how like Troy and Harris like came together, how things worked, and the dog, Chiron, I don't know, he was cute, and it was just a cute romance. But don't get me wrong, like I'm reading it and there's nothing that is like overly, what's the word I'm looking for, like driving me to pick it up. Like, well, not say driving me to it, I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm reading, but unlike with Heated Rivalry in the long game, it's not like I can't do anything else but read it. Right? That's kind of where I'm at. And I did start Game Changers, and it's fine. The one thing that they didn't do in the book, what they did in the show, is they added the banana to the smoothie. That's not in the book. So But I don't know, I've never really been a massive fan of Scott and Kip. Probably because Hollander completely overshadowed it, but I've not really been a massive fan of them. But here we are. I'm just kind of waiting to see where it's going to go. It's just fine. I'm sort of reading it, and as I'm reading it, I'm like, I could be reading about Ilya Rozanov right now. That is where my brain is going, of him and Shane. Like, it's unrivaled, literally. But I had a good time. I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's just taking a bit of time. It's just taking a bit of time. So, I don't know. We will have to see what happens when I finish it. How far am I into the book? Because I spent this morning reading a fic, which is called Confusion Protocol, about Shane getting, Ilya getting concussion and Shane being nursemaid. And it was nice and it was sweet. I'm on chapter 8. I'm only 23% through this book. Apparently, I have 4 hours and 40 minutes left in this book. So we will kind of see what happens with that. I'm hoping tonight, me and my friend have been doing these focus sessions together where we just read via like the Forest app for an hour together, and we plant a tree. It's not sponsored, but this is just what we use. It's quite fun. So I have an hour every night where we tend to get together and we just read. So I'm hoping that might happen, and then I can get an hour of Game Changers done. If I don't, then go back to rereading the long game, because since I've read the Heated Rivalry and the long game, I have read it twice more since I've spoken about it in this video. So this is not a problem. This is perfectly normal. Everybody else is insane, but that's where we am. That's where I am. So I don't know what's going to happen, but tune back in later on when I give you some updated thoughts on Skip and whether or not I like them. Currently, they're mediocre. Don't know what else to say about that. They're just mediocre. At least they're better than Common Goal, because that is terrible. I also might start Tough Guy while at the gym later on today. So we will see. Right, so I am 80% through Game Changers, I think. I was reading it this morning, I should know. 78. Close enough. I'm 78% through. And it's getting better the further I get in, but my only issue is we're missing the yearning. It's the whole reason why I loved Heated Rivalry, was the yearning. Even with the long game, right? You feel that connection between the two characters. Because you enter Heated Rivalry, they're then together in the long game, going through real relationship struggles, because they've been doing this and yearning and denying everything for like 9 years in Heated Rivalry. And then you get to the long game and it's like, the yearn, like, it's still there. That spark is still there. It's still believable. But with all the other books in this series, I'm like, the spark isn't there. It's just not there. Maybe I'm a very specific type of romance reader on I need that kind of yearning. Like, even with romantasy, for example, they tend to always get together within the first book. I'm like, okay, it's fine, right? But me personally, which is why I loved Taste of Golden Iron, and some other books as well. Give me a slower burn. Give me this slow burn, and I am sitting down for it. I'm here for the yearning. I'm here for the slow burn. I'm here for just them being characters and desiring something else. It's the damn yearning, and it's missing in this book. Like, by the 50% mark, they'd already said the I love you, and I was like, I don't really see it. I don't really like Kip, personally. Like, he's getting better as you go through the book, but he's just fine, right? And I kind of wish we got a little bit more of a kind of dynamic between Scott Hunter and his teammates, and like, does he have friends? But this, I don't really think that's Rachel Reed's style, which is fine. But there's something just kind of missing there. And obviously I know how it ends because I saw the show. So, and I've read like the long game and other stuff. So I kind of get it, but it's just the struggles they're going through. It's believable, but also not, because I don't believe in their relationship fully, because I kind of think you say I love you within like the first 2 weeks of meeting each other. Maybe I'm too asexual for this. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just cold and dead inside. But it's just, I don't know. There's something just missing right there. Just missing a little bit. But we will have to see what happens on that front. But it is, I mean, I like Scott. Scott's cool. He's going through a lot of trouble. And I like the fact that this is like the first time he's having to deal with this kind of thing. Like the relationship, everything else going on. It's the first time he's having to physically deal with it. But I'm just kind of, I'm wanting, I don't know, something a little bit more. Something just to spark between them. Like, I understand you had the meet cute, which is fine. I don't mind the meet cute. But then I need something more to keep me going throughout the book. That isn't just lustful. I don't mind, like, smart being early on. I mean, Heated Rivalry opens up on a smart scene. But I just need something a little bit more there between them that kind of makes them stand out to me. Because the characters of Heated... I can't shut up talking about it. This is my own Heated Rivalry vlog. I could talk about it here. But even the characters like Shane and Ilya, they are both so vastly complex. Like, even Shane, who on outwardly you kind of think, it's not really. He's got his weird little quirk things and all of this and whatnot going on. But he still is very complicated, and he feels very deeply, and the struggles they both go through and the realizations that they battle and then kind of come to like conclusions and realizing what they are willing to do, and that will you come to my cottage, Summer? The whole thing with how they bounced with their characters in and out of themselves, like. But so Shane, you don't really get like the inner monologue that you do in the book. And the book, you really seem to understand a bit more about Shane, right? But then you get Ilya, and you do understand more about Ilya, but then you're kind of like, oh, this is why he acts like this. Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? That's why he's being like the push-pull kind of vibe. And the characters, you just love both characters. I mean, I sobbed over both of them, mainly Ilya, because what do you mean you gave that guy fucking depression? But the characters are there. They are just amazing. They are incredible. Whereas in Game Changer, they're just not. Even in the other ones, right? Like, Common Goal, honest to God, worst book. Should not exist. The characters, terrible. Role Model was better. They had more agency there, and there was just more there, okay? So, fair, fine, cool, right? I could get past it. Would I reread it? No. Would I own a physical copy of it? No. And I am reading Tough Guy, and it's just fine so far on Tough Guy. I'm going to give more thoughts on that later, but it's just, they're fine. I kind of thought they'd go more into the anxiety rep with Ryan, but so far they have not. So, anyway. And then you have Game Changers, which is just fine. I think this was Rachel Reed's debut thing. So kind of might explain a little bit of it, but also, nah. I mean, Scott's cool, and I like the hockey side of it. I mean, granted, there isn't much hockey, but it's bringing up a lot of like criticisms that is in hockey and should really be criticised and brought up and be like, you're being a little bit homophobic. But generally it's just, I don't know, I kind of feel like there should just be more between them. And there's just not, which is like the worst thing ever. Like when you're reading a romance book or a romance couple and you just like, this is bone fucking dry. Why do I care about this when it's so dry? That's kind of where I'm standing right now. It is picking up, like they're going through their struggles because obviously Scott is closeted, he's just afraid of coming out. And you can really see that and see them battling through it a bit more than you did in the show. How things went back and forth a little bit and whatnot. But I'm also a bit like, doesn't need this much page time? Does this really need this much page time? You know, I don't know, maybe it's me. Maybe I like the slow burn, the like Heated Rivalry. So many years went through and went past and they knew each other without really knowing that they knew each other. Well, they did, they were very observant, but it kind of grew on that, right? And with this, I'm just like, yeah, maybe it's just not my kind of romance I like. I don't know, it probably is not my kind of romance I like, but I'm having fun, kind of. It's picking up. I don't want to like not read it, whereas Common Goal I did almost DNF. But I need to run to work. So I will come back in a bit on that because I need to go walk some dogs in the piercing rain. So, but yeah, TDR, is that a word? I don't know. But anyway, I can't even say it. Game Changer, it's just fine thus far. I will hopefully finish it today or tomorrow. I have a story to tell you. Yes, I did finish Tough Guy, but I was driving and this guy was flagging me down, and I know these country roads well, so I know it floods, but he was like, I just wanted to let you know, like, the road is shut because they're doing works on the bridge and it's flooded. And I was like, it's fine, don't worry about it, I need to get to property on that road anyway, I know what's happening. It was like, cool. As I wound my window down, I was listening to Tough Guy. Guess what scene it was on? Yeah, a fucking raunchy scene, and on full volume, and I went, oh shit, quickly turned it off, because bless that old guy, he might have had a heart attack if he was like figured out what I was listening to, and the fact that it was gay smart, and even just any smart, to be fair, I feel like would have given that guy a heart attack. So I almost completely buried myself in a hole and possibly murdered a very old sweet man who probably had no idea that smart even existed. Driving can be dangerous when you're listening to smutty audiobooks, FYI. But anyway, I finished Tough Guy. It was fine. I did end up really enjoying it. I did. The trouble is, like, the whole third act breakup, which happens all the fucking time, which is fine. I kind of felt like it was pointless. It didn't really... So they had the third act breakup because Fabian was a bit kind of like, I'm not sure about this. You know, Ryan Price is like the big defender. Like, he's the guy who gets into fights in hockey, right? He's meant to be beating up other people. And he's also suffering a lot with anxiety and everything. And Fabian's like, I don't know about this guy, like, seeing some fights, seeing him do this, which totally understandable. You're seeing a guy who you thought you knew, like, who's sweet and everything, and then all of a sudden you're like, hang on a minute, this is not the guy I knew. And then so he's like getting a bit cold feet because, not that he doesn't know like who Ryan really is, but he just doesn't really like hockey, right? He's like, oh, you need to leave hockey. And instead of actually being there to help support Ryan, he just fucking legs it, right? Which I am literally Shane, who would leg any kind of situation like that. Be like, I don't know how to handle this, somebody else handle it, I am running away. So I get it, but I'm also like, dude, come on. But then the resolution of that, I'm like, wait a second. That, you didn't have any, the resolution was Ryan Price doesn't play hockey. That doesn't fix the problem. They had a little conversation about a couple of things, right? About like Ryan's anxiety and you know, and whatnot. But to be fair, Ryan did come up with the idea himself to leave hockey because we all love our little Ilya Rozanov, who's just going around giving emotional support to all the gays in the NHL. And he had a chat with Ryan Price. And Ilya was like, do you like playing hockey? And Ryan was about to say yes, and actually went, no. And that kind of ball rolled him into making that decision. But I do still feel like it was very quick on making that decision. And it was alluded to in like a couple of later books as well that he had a rough breakup with hockey. Whereas in the actual book, it wasn't that rough. There was nothing on page about him going to his employers and be like, I'm going to give up hockey. And they'd be like, what? And going through that process and everything. It never happened on page. So I kind of just feel like he didn't really have that much of a bad breakup with it. But let it slide. The relationship between the two was fine and sweet. Again, I mentioned this before, but I love how they were talking about how Ryan's anxiety can definitely affect things happening in the bedroom, how he likes reassurance, how he might not always be able to finish because he's too in his head, right? Which brings me to slight parallels with Shane on that point. But Shane doesn't have chronic anxiety. He does. It's just he's not seeing anybody about it. And I think Shane's got his own coping mechanisms of, if I have all the information, I will be fine. That is also me. But Ilya is very good at bringing Shane out of his head. And that's what I love about their dynamic. Whereas where you have Fabian and Ryan, Fabian isn't very good at bringing Ryan out. Like, he's very supportive. But I think for a character in a romance like that to really work, is you need somebody to kind of be able to understand and calm that person down and bring them out of their head, like Ilya does with Shane, right? People in my life, because they know exactly what I'm like, they're like, oh, let's say we're planning a day out. They would send me bullet points of, roughly we're going to be here at this time, roughly this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. Things may change, but this is a rough kind of plan, and how many people are coming and who's going and what, right? So I'm like, cool, I can prepare, okay? And they give me that with plenty of time. If you tell me that on the actual day or the night before, nah. I'm like, I will be ringing you up a week before, be like, what's the plan? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just give me a rough detailed plan. I don't care what it is. Just give me a rough detailed plan. That's kind of what I feel like Shane is like. And also what I feel like, because Ryan has just got anxiety. I don't know if there's like a difference between having anxiety because you're neurodivergent or just having general like an anxiety disorder. Because I kind of feel like most of anxieties kind of fall in together with being neurodivergent. Do correct me if I'm wrong in the comment, but that's my understanding of it, because I don't think most people, unless they've gone through like serious trauma, which we know Ryan Price hasn't, I don't know. But it was okay. It could have been better. I do feel like there could have been something just a little bit more between the two of them, but I did enjoy it more than I think, disregarding Ilya and Shane's books, the other Game Changer books. So, my ranking of Game Changer books are: least favourite, Common Goal. Fucking skip that book. Because, oh my god, the couple in that book was terrible. Literally terrible. I want to burn them from my brain. I hated everything about it and I almost DNF'd it. Game Changer. I know, people might be shocked, but I don't like Skip. Kip, as a character, isn't great. And I was talking to my friend Esme and she literally made this comment. for real, that was just, wow, that man is hot and makes good smoothies. Husband material. And I was like, yeah, that's literally it. That is literally it. Like, there was nothing showing them really getting together, which happens in a lot of these books. There was no, like, proper chemistry and showing how they grow closer together. But it did happen with Shane and Ilya. So I'm like, why did you decide to do it for that, but not the other books? I'm confused. Like, Rachel Reed, you literally have, like, the top book of all time that you have written for me. And yet, some of the romances you've written, I'm like, these are terrible. What's going on? But I did not like Game Changer. I liked it again, more going through the end. But Kip, there was just, like, hardly any chemistry. Tough guy. Sorry. Tough guy didn't really beat Role Model. Role Model had one, more Ilya, but also two, I did really like Harris and Troy Barrett's, like, chemistry working together. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't Shane and Ilya chemistry, but it was chemistry that was still there on page and a little bit hotter. So that's what they get. They get an extra a point for that. Then it's Heated Rivalry. And this was hard to pick because, weirdly enough, I am more drawn to Heated Rivalry on a reread than I am the long game. But the trouble is, the long game always makes me fucking cry so much that I'm just like, I have to. It has to go at the top. Although you could pretty much say, like, Heated Rivalry and long game are, like, tied. But there's my rating for the Game Changers. Do I recommend reading the series? Mostly. If you want, you can just read Heated Rivalry and the long game. I don't really think you're going to miss out on much more, right? As long as you understand, or at least watch the show and watch the show with Scott and Kip. That had better chemistry on there than it does in the book. Not going to lie. And they did, like, have a big impact on hockey. I'm not taking that away from what Scott did. But as a chemistry together, I was just getting a little bit kind of... Towards the end, it was better. But at the beginning of it, I was like, I don't know. But I love a slow burn. So, and Heated Rivalry is a massive slow burn. It's fucking 9 years before they admit they love each other. Of course I'm gonna love it. But I do hope you enjoy this, considering it is not my usual kind of content, being such an epic fantasy reader. But let me know down below if you've watched the show. If you have not watched the show, what are you doing with your life? And if you are going to read the books or not. And if you have any romance recommendations that is similar to Ilya and Shane, please drop them below because I will eat them up. And I hope you have such a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.